Have you ever wondered why Ivan IV of Russia earned the moniker the Terrible? Let's take a journey back in time, to the 16th century, to the heart of Russia. Here, we encounter a ruler who is as fascinating as he is feared. A man whose reputation still echoes through the annals of history, Ivan IV, better known as Ivan the Terrible. Born into the illustrious house of Rurik, Ivan ascended to the throne at a tender age of 3, and his reign, which lasted for nearly 5 decades, was a tumultuous period filled with political maneuvering, territorial expansion, and profound societal change. His rule, however, was not without controversy. Ivan's reign is a study in contrasts, a narrative interwoven with threads of both triumph and tragedy. On one hand, Ivan the Terrible was a visionary. He was a central figure in transforming Russia into a multi-ethnic and multi-confessional state, stretching from the Baltic Sea to the Pacific Ocean. He established the Streltsy, Russia's first standing army, and introduced significant legal and administrative reforms. On the other hand, Ivan was a despot, known for his outbursts of rage and paranoia. His oprichnina, a policy of mass repression, terror, and public executions, left an indelible mark on Russian history. His personal life was no less tumultuous, marked by the loss of his beloved wives and his tragic altercation with his son. So, who was Ivan the Terrible? Was he a strategic leader who propelled Russia into a new era? Or was he a tyrant whose reign was marked by fear and bloodshed? The enigma of Ivan the Terrible is a puzzle that continues to captivate historians and enthusiasts alike. As we delve deeper into the life of Ivan the Terrible, we find a complex character, a man who was as much a product of his time as he was a shaper of it. His story is a testament to the power of history, the enduring legacy of leadership, and the human capacity for both greatness and atrocity. Stay tuned as we delve into the life of this enigmatic ruler. Born into the grandeur of Moscow's royalty, Ivan's life was marred by tragedy from the onset. In the heart of the 15th century, on August 25th, Ivan Vasilievich, later known as Ivan the Terrible, came into this world. He was born into opulence, heir to the Rurik dynasty, and the grandeur of Moscow's royalty was his birthright. But the gilded halls of the Kremlin were not always a sanctuary. When he was only 3, Ivan's father, Vasily III, left this mortal coil, leaving the young prince with a heavy crown to bear. The death of his father plunged the royal court into a period of chaos and confusion, with rival factions vying for power. A mere 5 years later, another blow came. Ivan's mother, Elena Glinskaya, was also taken by death's cold hand. The circumstances of her demise remain shrouded in mystery, with whispers of poison echoing through the stone corridors of the Kremlin. Bereft of both parents, the young Ivan was left in the care of power-hungry boyars, noble advisors who were more interested in their own advancement than the welfare of their charge. Ivan's childhood was a turbulent one, marked by neglect, abuse, and treachery. His formative years were spent navigating the treacherous waters of court politics, witnessing firsthand the cruelty and duplicity of those who sought to control him. These early experiences were not just hardships to be endured, but lessons to be learned. They shaped the young Ivan, molding him into the man he would become. Ivan's early years were a crucible, forging a ruler with an iron will and a heart hardened by betrayal. They taught him that power was a double-edged sword, one that could protect or destroy. They instilled in him a deep-seated mistrust of the nobility and a ruthless determination to secure his throne at all costs. As he grew older, these lessons would guide his actions, influencing his decisions and shaping his reign. The boy who was born into grandeur, yet marred by tragedy, would become a czar known for his ruthless tactics and unpredictable temperament. The stage was set for a reign that would forever change the course of Russian history. At a tender age, Ivan was thrust upon the throne of a divided and strife-ridden Russia. A child king, he was crowned czar at the mere age of 16. It was an age of innocence for most, but not for Ivan. He was a young ruler navigating the treacherous waters of a turbulent kingdom. His coronation was not a celebration but a solemn promise of duty, and duty he did. He ruled with an iron fist, determined to unite a fragmented Russia under a single banner. However, his rule was not without its challenges. He faced resistance from the powerful boyar nobility, struggled with insurgencies, and grappled with the constant threat of foreign invasions. But Ivan was no ordinary ruler. He was a visionary, a strategist, a leader. Ivan, in his quest for unity and control, took a radical step. He established the oprichnina, a state within a state, a realm that was solely under his command. This was no ordinary measure. It was a calculated move, a strategic maneuver to consolidate power and eliminate opposition. The Oprichnina was Ivan's own private kingdom, where he was the judge, the jury, and the executioner. The creation of the Oprichnina was a turning point in his reign. It represented his absolute power and his unyielding resolve to unify Russia. It was a testament to his ruling philosophy: rule by fear, rule by force, rule by Ivan. The Oprichnina was a symbol of his power, his dominance, and his unassailable authority. But the Oprichnina was more than just a political strategy. It was a psychological weapon, a tool of terror. It was a clear message to his enemies, to those who dared to challenge his rule, that he was not to be trifled with. Ivan was a king, a warrior, a dictator, and he would stop at nothing to protect his realm, to preserve his power, to perpetuate his reign. With the Oprichnina in place, Ivan's reign took a dark and terrifying turn. The establishment of this formidable institution marked the beginning of a reign of terror, a reign that would forever be etched in the annals of history as the rule of Ivan the Terrible. Under the banner of the Oprichnina, Ivan unleashed a reign of terror that still sends shivers down the spine. The Oprichnina was Ivan's personal police force, a tool of terror he wielded with deft precision to suppress any opposition. A dark cloud hung over Russia during this time as the Tsar's power grew increasingly unchecked and brutal. The Oprichnina was instrumental in enforcing Ivan's will, and their methods were as ruthless as they were effective. They orchestrated mass executions, often in public squares, to serve as a chilling reminder of the Tsar's omnipresent control. The Oprichnina's black-clad horsemen would descend upon the populace, their arrival heralding doom for those unfortunate enough to be marked as enemies of the state. Property seizures were common during this era, with Ivan's secret police snatching up the assets of those they deemed traitors. The wealth of the nobility was systematically siphoned off, further consolidating Ivan's control over Russia. This tactic not only served to quell potential rebellions, but also crippled the economic stability of anyone who dared to oppose him. However, the most egregious of Ivan's transgressions was perhaps the infamous massacre of Novgorod. In his relentless pursuit of absolute power, Ivan turned his ire towards this prosperous city, accusing it of treachery. The ensuing onslaught was nothing short of a bloodbath. Men, women, and children were brutally slaughtered, their cries for mercy falling on deaf ears. The once vibrant city was reduced to a ghost town, its populace decimated, its spirit crushed under the weight of Ivan's wrath. Such was the reign of Ivan the Terrible, a time marked by fear, violence, and the iron-fisted rule of a man who would stop at nothing to maintain his grip on power. His reign was a dark chapter in Russia's history, a period where the line between ruler and tyrant blurred into obscurity. The terror of Ivan's rule was felt far and wide, but was there more to this man than just a tyrant? Beyond the terror and the tyranny, who really was Ivan the Terrible? This question brings us to the man behind the moniker, a complex figure of contradictions, colored by both the darkness of his deeds and the brilliance of his mind. Ivan the Terrible was not just a despot, he was an individual with a deep love for the arts and literature. His court was a cultural hub, attracting poets, writers, and artists from across the realm. The grandeur of this period is reflected in the rich tapestry of Russian literature and art that flourished under Ivan. He himself was known to be well-read, knowledgeable in theology, and even dabbled in writing. But Ivan was not only a patron of the arts. Determined to etch his name in the annals of history, he embarked on a mission to reform Russia's laws and governance. He introduced the Sudebnik of 1566, a legal code that sought to centralize power and establish a more unified Russian state. It was a monumental step towards the modernization of Russia. However, the dichotomy in Ivan's character presents itself starkly here. On one hand, he was a visionary leader, striving for progress. On the other, he was a ruthless ruler, enforcing his reforms with an iron fist. His reign was a tumultuous mix of progress and terror, of enlightenment and darkness. Ivan was a man of paradoxes, a cultured individual with a love for literature, yet a ruler known for his brutality, a lawmaker who sought to transform Russia, yet a tyrant who was feared by his own people. His reign, much like the man himself, was a blend of contradictions. So, when we delve into the persona of Ivan the Terrible, we find a man far more complex than the tyrant history often paints him to be. A man who was as much a product of his times as he was a shaper of them. As we see, Ivan was a complex figure, a man of culture, a visionary leader, and a ruthless ruler. Ivan's reign, marked by terror and transformation, came to an end as abruptly as it had begun. The final chapter of Ivan's life was as tumultuous as the rest. As his health declined, so did his grip on the reins of power. The once vibrant king who had ruled with an iron fist was now a frail and paranoid man, haunted by the atrocities of his own making. The last decade of Ivan's life was dominated by failing health and escalating paranoia. He saw enemies in every shadow, traitors in every whisper. This fear drove him further into isolation, away from the court and the people, and into the depths of his own madness. He lived his final days in a world shaped by his fears and obsessions, a far cry from the powerful ruler he once was. On March 28, 1584, Ivan breathed his last. His death, much like his life, was shrouded in mystery. Some say he died while playing chess, others claim he was poisoned. The truth, as it often is with figures like Ivan, remains elusive. What we do know is that, with his death, Russia lost one of its most infamous rulers, a man who had single-handedly transformed the nation. In the aftermath of Ivan's death, Russia was plunged into a period of turmoil known as the Time of Troubles. The nation he left behind was fundamentally altered, politically, socially, and culturally. His policies had reshaped Russia's landscape, centralizing power, and laying the groundwork for the autocratic rule that would define the country's future. His legacy is a complex one, a blend of terror and transformation. He was a ruler who brought about change through fear, whose reign was marked by both progress and persecution. His actions, as horrifying as they were, played a pivotal role in shaping Russia into the nation it is today. Ivan the Terrible, a ruler whose legacy continues to baffle historians, left an indelible mark on Russia. His reign, a turbulent mix of terror and transformation, continues to echo through the annals of history, a stark reminder of a time when one man's vision could shape the destiny of a nation. Much like Ivan, many historical leaders have tales filled with intrigue, power, and paradox. They've wielded immeasurable power, shaped destinies, and left indelible marks on the annals of time. We've only just begun to unravel the complex tapestry of their lives and reigns. In the upcoming episodes on our channel, Historical Leaders Unveiled, we will continue to delve into the lives of some of the most charismatic, ruthless, innovative, and enigmatic leaders the world has ever seen. From the pharaohs of ancient Egypt to the emperors of Rome, the sultans of the Ottoman Empire to the monarchs of the British Isles, from the warlords of the Mongol horde to the chieftains of the Native American tribes, we will traverse through time, over continents, across cultures, and through eras, bringing you the most fascinating, startling, and sometimes shocking stories of these leaders. Join us on Historical Leaders Unveiled, as we continue to explore the fascinating and often tumultuous lives of history's most influential figures.